Everyone, Coach Sullivan here again with MGS Coaching Football. To my subscribers, to thank you. Non-subscribers, I'm hoping to tease you into pushing that button. This past fall, I completed my 38th year coaching football as a defensive coordinator, but over that time, I've also been an offensive coordinator, special teams coordinator, longtime head coach, and all of this at both the collegiate and high school levels. In this presentation, I want to talk to you about one of our 3D variations that we call yellow. It's different than any of the other 3D variations that are part of the 3D variation playlist, right, on the whiteboard. So non-subscribers got to push the button. Okay, and I'm going to show you our cover yellow versus both 11 and 10 personnel. So I'm not going to draw up any route combinations or anything, but I'll show it to you versus 11 up top and then 10 on the bottom, just so you can see the versatility. Over here are the key terms that will better help you understand cover yellow, okay? And then over here, I'll just go through some of the particulars, okay? Again, I'm not going to draw up any route combinations at all, okay, as I go through the presentation. So the first key term here is surface, okay? Surface. So what surface means to us is the offensive line, okay? Offensive line. And when there is a tight end, the tight end becomes a part of the surface on that side, okay? So all of our secondary, both corners and safeties, both inside linebackers, a detached outside linebacker, all read the surface. When we have an outside linebacker and a tight end, he's kind of locked in, so he relies on hearing pass from the other defenders, which he will clearly hear. Okay? So that's what surface means. So that tells us run, pass, and direction. Okay? So it's huge, huge, and it really assists when you're in those tweener downs, play action pass, three-step, so forth. Okay? So it's very, very helpful. So the second term here is this is the difference in this 3D variation from all the others. Non-subscribers, push the button. This is a quarter, half. Okay? This is quarter, half, so there's no rotation. Okay? And consequently, there's no hot side either. There's always a match, but there's no hot. So how we arrive at 3 deep when it's quarter, half, well, I'll wait till we get over here to the diagram portion of the presentation, remembering that I'm not drawing up any route combinations, okay? So the third key term here is just simply the match side. So the match side in our cover yellow, quarter, half, it's both inside linebackers and the dime outside linebacker, okay? And so the other side, instead of being the hot side, the other side, number 4, is simply the deep half side, okay? Deep half side. And so what that means is it's the rover side and or the opposite of the Liz and Rip. Okay, so I'll explain that to you when I get to the diagram. It's not complicated, okay? So this allows us to rush 4 defenders, okay? And we line up the same. So as I've said many, many times, here's a freebie, non-subscribers. Our alignments are disguised, and the offense has to figure it out post-snap. So we're able to rush 4, okay, and play our base coverage. It's a beautiful thing. And keep 2 high safeties, okay? Which, again, is the biggest difference between yellow and any of the other 3D variations that are part of the playlist. And again, non-subscribers are going to have to push the button, okay? So on the deep half side, we have the rover rush, or as I'll go over with you, the outside linebacker on that side. So on occasion, it could be the dime. It's not a big deal, okay? And then the boundary corner, okay, who it will always be is flat wheel plus. Flat wheel plus. I'll go over that again when I get to the diagram, okay? The whip is the deep half defender, okay? And the inside linebacker on that side is the match defender. Remember, the match side's both inside linebackers. And the match inside linebacker takes 2 in or number 1 in, and that's all, again, under 10. Not subscribers, push the button. And if neither of them come inside under 10, he works to the curl. Okay? So, here, up top, this is an 11-gun Dallas pistol, so 2x2. And when there's a tight end, the rover goes to the tight end. So this would be a rip, right? So that's the pass strength, and this would be a left. So on the pass strength side, whether it's 11 or 10, that's the quarter side. That's the match side. That's where we got 4 defenders playing the pass. Okay? That makes sense? 1, 2, 3, 4 are all playing pass, right? Takes number 2 in on the side of the lizard rip. If 2 doesn't come into him, curl. Takes number 1 coming in, right? Again, under 10. He doesn't come in, he buzzes the flat. The field corner takes 1 vertically. The free safety takes 2 vertically, and both of them have the or find work. So if 2's not vertical, free safety finds work. He looks out to 1. If 1's not vertical, field corner finds work. He looks inside the 2. Well, both are still slow tempo. Okay? That's all that means. So now, opposite the rip in this case, on pass, the rover becomes the 4th rusher. On pass, the Mike looks for 2 in first. Okay? So if 2 comes in, he takes him. If 2 doesn't come in, he expands and looks for 1 coming in. If he doesn't come in, then he continues out into the curl area, reading 1 to 2. 1 to 2. Whip. Okay, so let's just go with the surface, right? The surface showed pass. Hi-hat. So the whip's tempo pedaling. He's a deep half. He reads the near threat, which is number 2, to the outside threat, which is number 1. Right? And then similar to his base gray 4 match quarters teaching, if 2 is out, he's zoning off with 2 to 1. If 2's vertical, he's staying on top of 2 with his eyes on number 1. Okay, so there is a deep path technique that I'm not necessarily going to get into. We just say he gets on top of the triangle, which means he gets in between the 2 verts. Okay, so that being said, right, now we get to the boundary corner. He plays flat threat to a wheel. He'll carry a wheel. What does the plus mean? Okay, well, let me start with this. We don't call yellow in a long yard situation where they're likely to send 4 vertical. We're not going to call it. We're going to call it in a situation where they're going to have some short routes, medium down in distance. Their tendencies tell us they're going to shoot somebody to the flat. They're going to run a hitch. Somebody's going to be short, right? That's when we'll go call cover yellow. Okay? They might have 3 verts, but they're not going to have 4. And we base it on the formations. So it's away from pass strength. There's not 2 verticals. This is why we would call cover yellow to answer the question. Okay? So the plus is if we call it and they all of a sudden decide to send 4 verticals, right? Virginia on both sides. Everybody's vertical. And the back, nobody is coming into the flat. That becomes the plus. He will work and help the whip cover the 2 verticals. Okay? And he'll just simply say to him, hey, I'm here, I'm help. They'll communicate. So now the whip knows he can stay on top of 2. That's all the plus means. Okay? But again, not likely to ever need it because of the reasons already stated. Okay? So now let's get down to the 10 personnel, right? 10 gun Detroit. 2x2 still. middle of the field. So non-subscribers push the button. He's a right-handed quarterback, automatic Liz. So in this, I'll build in for a second what happens if, okay, as you'll see in a minute. So again, Rover's over here, right? It's a Liz, so it's both Rover rush and it's opposite the Lizard rip. So now he'll see for himself the surface show pass. He will rush from his detached position. So yeah, technically it's more of a blitz. I get it. But he's rushing the passer. He has a two-way go because the defensive end still has outside cage in both scenarios, by the way. That allows the Rover to be more aggressive, make some moves, be athletic. Okay? So now we'll start on the same side, right? Boundary still flat wheel plus, whip's still deep half. Mike is still, because he's on the side of the rush. 2 first in, he isn't. 1 second in, he isn't. Then he sinks for curl, reading 1 to 2. Over on the Liz or rip side, and Liz, 1, 2, 3, 4 defenders, right? 1 in or flat, 2 in or curl, 2 vertical, 1 vertical. In each case, fine work. So, last thing I want to cover. What if, right? It's still even. So they're left and right. What if ball's in the left hash? So the big field is to our right. This would now automatically become a rip. All it does is switch. Now, because the boundary corner always goes into the boundary. The whip always goes there. Field and free always go there. So he would still be a flat wheel plus. He would still be a deep half. Now he knows he's rushing. He knows he's not because he's on the rip. Okay, that's the only scenario. That's easy. So we make sure we practice it enough so our guys understand it. Okay, and then now over here, he'd be the 2 to 1. He'd be the 2. Okay, so that's how easy it is. So as I said at the beginning, to my subscribers, I thank you. Non-subscribers, I think I've given you enough to want to push the button and subscribe. To everybody, please reach out to me at coachmjsullivan@gmail.com. I want to thank you for watching MJS Coaching Football, and I want to thank YouTube for providing this platform.